If you or someone you care for has memory problems, there is a way to tell the difference between dementia and Alzheimer's disease. Missy O and Aaron Hagen are here to talk about a class called A Moment with Dementia. To both of you, thanks so much for being here.
Good morning.
I think we say that I saw a tweet or a meme about just how pervasive Alzheimer's is becoming. So if you don't mind, we hear a lot about it, but what exactly is Alzheimer's?
Sure, great question. So Alzheimer's is a form of dementia, and what it is it's a progressive disease that gets worse over time that will affect somebody's memory, their thinking process, as well as their behaviors.
This is something a lot of families struggle with, and when they are starting to kind of lose some of their memories, how do you tell the difference then between that and dementia?
Well, so it's important to go in for a diagnosis. The memory issues may not be from a form of dementia. It might be from a UTI, anxiety, or depression. But that's why it's important to go in for a diagnosis, because there's so many different types of dementia. Alzheimer's, dementia is the umbrella term, and dementia makes up for about 60 to 80% of diagnosis. But there's other forms of dementia as well, so that's why it's important to work with your care provider with that.
So if I go in and get this diagnosis and they say, hey, you've got dementia, does it mean that eventually I'm going to end up with Alzheimer's or no?
Well, it can just be a certain type of dementia. So Alzheimer's is, so the dementia is the umbrella term. Alzheimer's makes up a portion of that dementia diagnosis, but there's also like frontal temporal dementia, maybe Lewy body dementia. It might be a dementia caused by a stroke. So there's many different things that can bring on dementia or that memory loss.
What are some of the signs then that people should look for? Is it just them starting to forget to take pills, or can it be much more than that?
Sure, it'd be things that disrupt their daily life. So we have a class called Know the 10 Signs, and with that it might be things like, you know, my dad often forgets his keys. That doesn't mean that he has Alzheimer's, but if he's not able to track down where those keys are, or once he finds the keys, thinks that it doesn't know what they're for. So having those memory problems that are disrupting their daily life.
I'm sure, Missy, this can be hard for families, too, to admit that their loved one's at that point. And I'm sure it's hard for them to even, you know, admit it, too. Yes, I've been misplacing my keys. I don't know where they are or what they're for.
Well, a lot of times it starts with frustrations in the families, too. Why is mom getting mad at me? Or why is dad so frustrated all the time? Or why are these things happening? And so there's the frustrations that come along with it, and then not knowing what to do or how to go about doing it. And so there's many factors that come into it play, but it's really taking a look at knowing who to turn to, and the Alzheimer's Association is a great place to turn because they offer free advice, and going to your doctor, and really if you don't get the answers you want or you're looking for, keep asking, because if something's wrong, if something doesn't feel right, the family usually knows. And often it happens after the holidays when, say, family members might be away from their mom or dad, and then they come home for the holidays and they see things just aren't quite right. And so that's really when taking a look at asking the people that are around them the most, but then also asking for professional advice as well.
Any tips for, excuse me, if I'm a caregiver of someone with Alzheimer's? I mean, it's emotionally taxing, so any tips for them?
Totally. I think the biggest thing is reach out. Alzheimer's, any form of dementia is definitely an isolating diagnosis. Reach out. We have a lot of great resources here locally. The Alzheimer's Association is free. You can call us at any time, and we're here to get you connected with those resources. We also have a great memory cafe in both Fargo and Grand Forks, as well as different support groups. Know that you're not alone and educate yourself as well.
What's a memory cafe? What is that?
Great question. So a memory cafe, it's like a support group, but they'll bring in different facilitators. So they might have a doctor in one time, ask the doctor. Missy will be speaking at one coming up. And then also the Memory Cafe in Grand Forks has started a choir with folks with Alzheimer's and dementia.
Which is wonderful, which is wonderful. You know, singing is something that comes back to people. It's those things, especially those hymns from the old hymns that people used to sing, they just automatically come back because they remember those. And it's long-term memory that people hold on to the longest. And so those are amazing things. Another thing that we're doing is with Edge, we're doing North Dakota and Minnesota Alzheimer's Association. We're getting together and doing classes for people called A Moment with Dementia. So they can experience, a couple months ago we did that, experience what it may feel like to have dementia. So when caregivers have wonder what their loved ones are thinking or feeling or how to interact with them, they then will have known what it was like. So if someone wants to go through a class like that we provide, then we could definitely do that for them. They just connect with us.
We'll talk about that class right after this. Stay with us.